Welcome to the Sanity Project podcast, the place for internet technology professionals whose work-life balance plan has imploded. We are here to provide solutions that will help the IT pro live a sane, healthy, and prosperous life. Here's your host, Joanne Victoria.
Hi, this is Joanne Victoria, the I Know What Works coach, and I work with information technology professionals whose work-life balance has imploded and who want more fun, more confidence, more success, and more inner peace. I interview experts in the areas of health, wellness, finance, spirituality, and mindfulness. And the Sanity Project podcast is a platform for experts in the self-improvement community to share their wisdom, expertise, and solutions that will help the IT pro live a sane, healthy, and prosperous life. Our guest today is Sensei Victoria Whitfield. Her website link is naturalintuition.com. Victoria Whitfield is an internationally recognized holistic stress management and natural intuition development mentor, published author, and actively tours the globe, sharing energy healing experiences and trainings with heart-centered organizations like tech giant AT&T, local boutique business teams, and driven yet empathic, I think I got that right, yet empathic solo entrepreneurs. In her work, she seamlessly mixes personal growth, shamanism, reiki, and meditation to facilitate healing. It was on her own healing journey of managing her natural sensitivity that inspired Sensei Victoria to learn about personal and spiritual development. Welcome to the show, Sensei Victoria.
Thank you so much, Joanne Victoria. It's a pleasure to be here. Yeah.
I am so glad you are here because you have a topic to talk about that I think is important for everyone to pay attention to. It's about making peace and letting go of the year behind you.
Yes.
So how can that, letting go of the year behind you by making peace, help our audience of information technology professionals, as well as other people I know who listen to the recordings? So I know they sneak in, and they listen. So how can you explain that?
So I would have to say that what drops in is understanding that our listeners, right, all of us, we are not machines. So we've got to adjust the machine mindset where we're on the computer, we're on the emails, we're filing, we encounter so much data. And when it comes to machines, right, and our computers, our tablets, our phones, right, and the servers, so on and so forth, when it comes to data, you don't want to delete it. There's always a backup of a backup of a backup, carbon, all there's an accrual of data. And that's good. That's what you do when we're processing information, when we're in information technology. And we don't really want to delete things. So I don't know, maybe some of the listeners may have like a ton of emails. When you open up your email, you see how many might be unopened, or how many hundreds or tens of thousands for some of us, how many emails we have, all this information we've accrued. But when it comes to programs, platforms, and machines, it's okay for them to constantly accrue data and for us to need to back up all of that information, yes. But for us as human beings, right, holistic, natural, fully realized, right, changing, spiritual, emotional beings, always taking things in is actually not good for our health. And so that's really why we've got to make peace with letting go, especially letting go of the year that's now behind us, because it's first and foremost for our health, like having a healthy flow of experience through our bodies. Does that making sense, John?
I'm with you right away. I'm trying to figure out how to do it right now. I'm going, okay, I have to do this right now and not wait until I never make New Year's resolutions because that's silly to me. I just make resolutions on a daily or hourly basis.
Mm-hmm.
As long as I stick with my values, I'm fine. But this holistic, natural, fully realized human beings that we are need this. We need a process that we can acclimate to, that we can incorporate into our lives, that will be beneficial to us and not be in competition with someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And I say competition because, again, when people go, oh, what are your New Year's resolutions? It's like, go away, because then you get into competition with other people. My opinion, you deal with a vision in your life and whatever steps it takes to get there. You might make goals or outcomes or whatever it is, but on a daily basis, if you live your life the way you're supposed to, which I know you're going to describe a bit to us today as well, you don't have to make New Year's resolutions. You're going to make, I prefer the end of the year because I have written an article years ago about the end of the year, about firing clients, about cleaning out your databases, about just clean things out. Don't carry it over.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, I'm on the same page with you.
Fabulous.
Big time.
So, what's so good about what you said, though, is we have this funky illusion about New Year's resolutions as if we've got to wait until once a year to make a change. But again, this is similar to that machine-like mindset. Okay, we got to update the server. Everybody shut down and let's reboot everything. We're gonna do one big gigantic reboot. And okay, for machines, that's fine. That's fine. But how we work, how us as natural beings, we're processing a lot more data than any computer or any laptop, any tablet, etc., could possibly even think to process. If you think of it, we are multisensory. We're multisensory. So you're receiving data points from your vision sense, from your smell sense, from your taste, touch, etc., from less than seconds, like from a moment-to-moment basis every single day. And so accruing all of that information, what can happen from time to time, and some of the listeners may want to lean in a bit and pay attention here, is that you can have the experience of becoming overloaded, right? Overloaded, overwhelmed, too much information. There's too much going on. What would that look like? For some of us, that manifests as the weight creeping up in our bodies, where we're essentially eating without mindfulness. We're not moving and getting our anxiety out in a way that's physical, right? Instead, we're just maybe glued to the laptop, glued to the desktop, because we've got to get the next project done for the client, and etc. Right? So with that, we want to remain conscious to the fact that you are taking in so much information. And although when it comes to dealing with our digital platforms and all the technology around us, that we want to accrue, right, and improve and accrue and improve and accrue and improve, a cleansing is natural. You have got to clear things out. And there are so many ways that we can get started on that. But this is even more important, not only just releasing the year behind you, because it's November now as we're talking, and this year for many of us, not just in the United States, but around the world, have had a very tough time of it. There's been natural disasters and political changes, and then within the corporation, there's been bureaucratic changes, right? Reorgs, and all of that. There's been so much that we've had to endure this year alone. We have definitely got to take time to start releasing some of that excess. I'm calling it data to continue to draw the line between having machine mindset versus having a natural mindset. So to just continue playing on that. But now in November, as we're talking, we're about to go in the United States and other Christian countries. We're going into a lot of holidays and talk about being overwhelmed and overstuffed. I know here in the States, we have Thanksgiving and Hanukkah, and we have Christmas, and this oftentimes are celebrated by eating, and party after party. It's a lot of intake. And so we're not just talking about on the emotional and mental level of making sure that you're clearing out, and we'll go through an exercise for sure during our session today. However, on a physical level, even, I'm talking about clearing things out, right? If you're listening to this and you're looking down and admiring the view of your gut, stay tuned, right? Because I'm coming for you, baby. We need to get rid of that too. I mean, I know what that's like. I've been there. I remember years ago, had a bad reaction to a weight loss shake of all things. This is just a side story. But I was seeing my physical therapist, and he said, "Oh, you could take these shakes to, you could lose 15 pounds." I forget what the name of it was. It was some sort of weight loss thing, and I gained 15 pounds being on the shake because I had a reaction to the soy that was in it, and yeah.
We can't take soy.
No.
If you live in the United States and you were born an American, and we don't have that in our culture.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have that in our generational background. That, my grandmother did not cook soy.
Mm-hmm.
So, you go back to your roots more or less and what you eat, but this is not for us to eat. And not only is the soy bad, I will guarantee you that there were chemicals in that drink.
Oh, yeah.
So if you look at, for example, I'll look at films or whatever, films from the 60s and the 70s where people were skinny. And they weren't all skinny because they were taking drugs. They were skinny because there were no chemicals or soy in their food.
Mm-hmm.
And all the food was natural.
Mm-hmm.
The wheat was true wheat, not like it is today, compromised. The corn was corn, not like it is today, compromised, like anything else. And what you want to do, what I see you wanting to do is uncompromised, whatever the word is I made up, your own self.
Mm-hmm.
Take your own self into a space of clarity so that you can start, how do we get rid of this? How do I release some of this, this data so that I am not, stuck with it till the next year? Because what happens if you hold on to that, you have the same complaints year after year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You have the same issues year after year.
Mm-hmm.
So give me something magical, Victoria, for me and for our listeners.
Absolutely. So approaching this then with the holistic mindset, we want to understand that there's no separation between your mind and your body, right? There's no separation between the head and the heart. There's no separation between the office and the rest of your life, right? Your life is your life. Your energy is your energy. You are you. So what's great about proceeding forward with a holistic mindset is that when we do something such as a cleanse, for example, and yes, I'm suggesting that, when we do something like a cleanse that clears out your digestive tract, at whatever level you're comfortable with. I'm not talking like, go get yourself a colonic or something to blast you on the toilet. No, that's not what we're saying here, right? But when we do something on the physical level, we understand, according to holistic mindset, that it affects your mental, emotional, spiritual, and even your social and financial states, right? Because you're different. So I want to explain why, and this is just how I am. I feel it's really important for people to understand why we do certain things, because if we don't know why we're doing it, it'll look more basic or simple or mundane than it actually is. So let's look at your body. When we're feeling worried, right, or we're stressed out, which I'm sure, I've got my hand in the air. I teach holistic stress management, but you best believe I still experience it. Absolutely. That's what actually makes me a great teacher, is that I'm not floating 10 feet above the ground at some sort of guru mountain. I'm
Right.
right there with you. Yeah. So when we're experiencing stress in our body, all humans, if you've watched when someone is set up on an EEG machine, right, where the electroencephalogram, you're able to follow the electricity moving through the body. When someone's thinking stressful thoughts, sure, the EEG is going off around the brain, but it is also going off in the gut. So there has actually been research that would argue part of our central nervous system is localized in the gut, within the intestines. So
that's your second brain.
yeah, they refer to exactly, as the lower
That's
brain.
the lower brain.
Mm-hmm. So with that, if you're having, and I'm going to go there, if you're having irregularity, or if you're having excess weight, right, holding around your midsection, that's because we've got buildup, and that can affect your mindset. They call that, there's even a medical term that sounds pretty simple, but brain fog. That's a legit symptom. I used to work in a doctor's office in a past life, and that would be one of the symptoms that you could check off, is actually brain fog. And that's related to the health of the intestines. So it's important, even from a neurological and mental standpoint, to make sure that you're clearing your body out. So with that, understanding a little bit more about the intestinal lining. So you're not just processing food. Food isn't the only thing that's moving through your intestines. Old skin cells, other waste from different parts of the body, old bone, so on and so forth, is moving through there. And if it gets caught, it forms what's called a plaque on the sides of the intestinal lining. The only way that you can receive nutrition would be if your intestinal lining is open and clean and pink, or it would usually look like if you were to open up a cadaver, right?
Right.
So most people, however, tend to have several millimeters or more of plaque around their intestinal lining. So you could be taking, like, I can feel someone listening and say, oh, I take my multivitamin, or, I eat fiber, my Metamucil, blah, blah, blah. Look, if you're taking multivitamins and you're not cleansing regularly, you're just basically having expensive pee. Let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to send some love to those of you who are just taking your one a day or whatever, and not thinking about, what about my gut health? But for those of you who are taking fiber, it's the other way around. So, okay, you're cleaning all these things out, but what are you doing to take care of the bacterial environment, right, of your intestines? What are you doing to receive the nutrition that you might not be getting from your food? Like, just as you said, Joanne, Victoria, the food that we have now is lacking so many minerals that our bodies desperately need. So on one level, with all of that, explaining the background, to see why is it important, right? Why is this important? Our guts are our lower brain. This is the lower part. When you feel anxious, You might feel like your stomach is in knots, or your lower back may hurt if you're worried about finances or feeling overburdened by responsibilities. In holistic therapeutic fields, we look for that. We look for tension around the midriff and lower back, because this is a sign of a lack of gut health. And therefore, the first thing that you and your listeners are going to want to look into is cleansing regularly. And you want to start, I would say, before the holidays. Don't wait until you eat Thanksgiving dinner and being like, oh, let me go get my prune juice or something like that to top off the night. That you've already had the whole year behind you. If you haven't gone on a cleanse yet this year, you have the whole year's worth of buildup that you want to start working through. Now, how a cleanse would work, it's unique to each person. I'm not sponsored by any one brand in particular that I'm going to go tell you and buy and stuff like that. No. Your best bet when it comes to cleansing, however, is just to remove one thing from your diet at a time. Now, for some people that might mean wheat. For some people that might mean meat. For others it may mean coffee or sugary drinks in particular, right? Or for others it may mean removing breakfast. But one thing, just choose one thing. You don't have to go according to some diet or plan or something like that. But I would highly recommend your listeners look up something called Stoicism. But Stoicism says it's about having a sense of self-discipline, right? And being more minimalist in life. So regardless of what the one thing is that you're removing, begin cleansing now. And here is what's going to happen. Maybe you removed dairy, for example. You're going to have the sensation of withdrawal. And this is important because when you were experiencing withdrawal, that is your body saying, I'm letting you know that I am overwhelmed by data. I'm overwhelmed. I've had so much data input, and the data could be calories, fats, carbs, or the data could also be emotional traumas, excessive stress on the mind and on the body, right? So I've had so much data input that now that you've removed something that you've been masking it's like you pop the lid and it's starting to come out. So when people are going through a sense of coffee withdrawal, for example, they have the headaches. And that's natural. It's not something that you want to drink coffee to stop.
Right.
And that's a sign of your body saying, ooh, great. You removed one of my stressors. You removed this excess input. I am going to clean out. And cleaning is not very comfortable, but it is always temporary. It is always temporary.
Okay, you got that, people. You've got one thing that you need to do right now to be clean for the next year. And even though this podcast is coming out in November 2017, we're talking about the next year. The day after you start doing something is your next year, your personal next year. You will be rebirthing yourself. I know that it's difficult because it's a challenge, but it's, you're all smart, so you know what you can do. You can stop eating cheese, anything from the cow. I personally, when I'm watching TV or going to see a movie, it doesn't happen so much in the films because they're in better health there. But in the movies, I can tell by the way somebody talks or whatever if they eat dairy. Because I am so, I do touch goat cheese, but it doesn't come from the cow, so it's a little bit easier to digest. I know it still has fat, but whatever. You got to have something. But I could tell. And people will tell if you are eating dairy by the way your voice sounds.
Mm-hmm.
You will have a snort in your nose. I know this sounds all basic or base, actually, but when you clean out your body, your mind is cleaned out, people.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something you need to know. This is what Sensei Victoria Whitfield is telling you. But she's also going to tell you about an opportunity that she has created for next month for those of you on the East Coast, but other people know how to get on a plane, about her winter rebirth retreat. And I want her to talk a little bit about that right now. Can you do that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Joy and Victoria. So, and I totally agree. You can tell in someone's voice when they've had dairy that comes from a cow. It's amazing how that
I
is.
know.
Yeah. So with the winter rebirth retreat, so what we've been talking about is for those of you who are just getting started and really interested in what can I do? What's the one thing that I can do and take away from this podcast session to start making peace with letting go of the year behind me? And believe it or not, yes, going on a cleanse so that your body can start releasing and cleansing from the inside out. Now, at the retreat, however, we're going to take this into a much more immersive level. So it's going to be in the Pennsylvania Poconos at this fabulous retreat location called the Himalayan Institute. They often have different meditation and yoga retreats there. But for our retreat, the Winter Rebirth Retreat, is that we're going to take what is the main block that has come upon you from this year in particular. I have people who come from all different walks of life. It might be the loss of a team member. It may be that a lunch didn't go very well. It may be that their family, down in Puerto Rico had trouble in the horrible hurricanes, or someone might have lost homes in the fire, or friends who did. But we're going to take that and we're going to move you through different physical as well as spiritual experiences at the retreat to help release that block's hold on you. And then, so that's day one in particular. It's a 2-day retreat, a Saturday and a Sunday, by the way, December 9th and 10th. And then on the second day, what we're going to do is teach you something called shamanic journey meditation. And what this is a visioning practice where you will learn how to go into a light meditative state and envision what your next solution is. And we're going to do this as a group. Now, shamanism is a very, very, very old practice. And the word shaman actually comes from the Siberian Tungus tribe, which means one who sees in the dark. That's what a shaman means. So shamans were the people in the community who, if a child was sick, they would go and do this form of meditation that I'm going to teach at the retreat to divine what medicine the child needed. If the year was going on, the weather was starting to change, they would go into this light meditation and then come back and say, all right, this is where we're going to move the tribe so that we'll be okay for winter. And frankly, the shaman was responsible for the forward movement of the tribe. Solutions gathering is what the result is from doing shamanic journey meditation. So on day 2, we're going to learn how to do that as a group. And by the way, the retreat is like a little more than half full already at the time of this is airing. So, but I'm happy to extend, and we can work with the retreat center if you would like to join us. But with that, we're going to do that meditation, receive what's your vision for the next year. So day 1 is letting go. We're going to take you through different healing and spiritual experiences at the retreat so that you can release the year behind you. Deep meditation, going out in the woods. We're going to have a lovely fireside chat as well, just a commitment ceremony to release whatever you've been holding on to. And then day 2, we're going to really use meditation to help receive your strategic plan for the next year. So you don't have to be an entrepreneur or a manager. Most of the people who are attending, however, are business owners, entrepreneurs, and managers. But if you want to create a new level in your life, whatever that may be, it might be, greater physical health, might be improvement in your relationship with your family, or whatever it is you'd like to create in the new year, it's important to give yourself time outside of your normal space to sit down and receive that vision and strategize it out. We're going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be a really beautiful experience.
It sounds like it, and I will have a link on my website so people can sign up and or get in contact with you anyway. Mm-hmm. Whatever works best for them, that they want to talk to you a little bit more about it, but we'll provide them with the link, right?
Yes.
Okay. So right now we know that you can go to naturalintuition.com. You can email Victoria right now, as soon as you listen to this, at info@victoriawhitfield.com. That's Victoria like the Queen, and Whitfield, Whitfield. I thank Sensei Victoria Whitfield in the highest regard for being here today. I want to ask my listeners that they go to my website at askjoannevictoria.com, and you can listen to Sensei Victoria's podcast, as well as download a book that I provide for free, which is called the True Self. The Truth. See, I've forgotten about it. So I'm just forget about it. But go there. It says it. Just do it. It's the True Self Handbook, a guide to transform your life. I knew the brain would access that synapse.
I think we both need a cleanse.
Yes, we both. Oh, yes. Yeah. I know what my cleanse is going to be. Anyway, thank you. And until the next time, Victoria, have a wonderful new year. Bye-bye.
You as well. Bye.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Sanity Project podcast. Please go to AskJoanneVictoria.com and continue the conversation on her podcast page. And get a free copy of her book, The True Self Handbook, a guide to transform your life. That's AskJoanneVictoria.com. Take care, and thanks for being here.